Welcome back, everyone, to the Rebel Outpost. I am sitting here in our headquarters, aka my office. And if you don't know, my name is David, and I'm building a Rebel Outpost, which is my take on a secure homestead focused on the future, which I'm afraid is going to be rougher than the world is right now, if you can believe that. So that's what I'm currently doing deep in the woods. But you're not watching this video to find out about the Rebel Outpost today. There's other videos about that. Today, you clicked on this video because you are not feeling motivated or you're not doing what you need to do. And let me tell you, I have been there before. In fact, I've been there many days. Even today, I did not feel like turning on the camera and making this video. And that brings up the very first and most important part. Let's set our expectations right. Motivation is great, but motivation is not the secret sauce that successful people in any arena, business, beekeeping, relationships, marriage, home builders, whoever, that's not the secret that they use. Motivation gets you going, but dedication keeps you going, and discipline focuses you in to know what to do while you're being dedicated. So let's talk about a great quote that summarizes all of this that I read the other day. It said, if you're feeling unmotivated, it said, and you don't want to do the work you need to do to reach your goals, do it anyway, because some force is preventing you from doing it. So use your own force to overcome that force. Let that sink in for a second. You're laying in bed, you don't want to get out of bed, or you're sitting at your desk and you know you need to stay another 2 or 3 hours to make the calls or do whatever you need to do, and you just don't want to do it. You don't want to do the things you need to do. Lack of motivation. Sometimes you just have to force it. Personal sharing right here. I am not motivated most days out here at the Rebel Outpost. I have been here for over 500 and something odd days, and almost every single day I was not motivated to get up. When I didn't have water on site and I was having to use water from my tank, when I didn't have a bathroom on site, no septic system, nothing, when I had no idea what I needed to do next, or I lacked the tools or the skills, and I was alone and it was cold and I didn't see a way forward, I had zero motivation. I did not wake up happy-go-lucky, like, yes, let's do this. This is wonderful. Truth of the matter is, I had more days where I was unmotivated. That's right. I had more days where I thought I had doubts. I thought, what am I doing? Why am I here? This doesn't make sense. This is not what I should be doing. Everybody else is doing something different. I have zero support. Zero support. Outside support with the occasional text message or maybe a phone call from a friend. I do have a couple good friends who say positive things, but outside of that, it was myself. And you're probably on your own. Perhaps you've been heartbroken. Perhaps you've gone through a divorce. Perhaps you feel like the job you're in isn't paying enough for you to ever get ahead. You got to do it anyway. Something makes you want to not do it, so use sheer force and willpower. But that's like telling someone who's overweight, just lose weight, right? Or someone who's not smart to read books and get smarter. It's not that easy. I understand. And not everybody has full control over their willpower and the brute force that you need to just hit these things head on when you wake up in the morning and it's cold and it's dark and the time just changed for us all. And so it is harder to do these things when it's cold and dark. But use willpower. Just do it. And remember that quote. Something's making you not want to do it, so just do it anyway, right? Let that sink in. That's very philosophical. That's very important. And that's how I got up for 500 and something days and worked through each day to make progress. That's the first thing I want to tell you. The second thing that I think will help you if you're not motivated is to remember this. There are things happening out there in the background. Markets are changing. Economic situations are changing. Your neighbors are selling their property. Somebody's passing away. They're going to sell their property. I use property reference right here because perhaps you're looking to buy a homestead property or move out to land and you think you can't afford it. But someone you're nice to may come to you and say, hey, my grandfather or my dad died. We don't want to put the property on the market with an agent. Would you be interested in buying it, or whatever? Whatever your goal is, you never know how things are moving behind the scenes. So the second thing I want to tell you is it's important to keep faith. Have faith in things working out. You can doubt yourself. You can say, I don't think it's going to work out, and you're probably right. But if you truly believe day in, day out, if you believe when there's no reason to believe, if you keep faith in yourself and your goals when everything looks bleak, the universe, God, call it what you may, karma, I believe it's in a holding pattern. There's a holding pattern. It's saying, okay, does this man or woman really want this property? Do they really want this business to succeed? Do they really care? See, it's a filter system. If it was easy and everybody could do it, then it would not matter. It wouldn't be important. I'm out here at the Rebel Outpost and I'm living in a trailer, a 20-foot trailer. Go in your bathroom and stay in that bathroom and imagine that that's pretty much half of the area I'm living in and have been. I did that so that I could reverse engineer, meaning I could build everything in reverse. First, most people would build a house or a cabin. No. I'm building everything in reverse. I wanted all the systems in place, the garden, the RV parking spot, the war tent, the bee yards. I wanted all this other stuff, the chicken coop. I wanted all that done first because I knew, first off, a cabin would require probably borrowing money and having a mortgage and a note payment. And I just want to avoid that if possible. But the second thing, I knew I would get comfortable. I knew I would become complacent. And by forcing myself to live in a mostly uncomfortable, let me say, my Airstream is very nice and I'm glad to have it. But again, it's small. So hanging out inside all the time is not doable. That's a motivating force to get out and get it done. The third thing I want to remind you as far as feeling motivated, and this is another thing I use, is remember why. There's a great quote that says, if the why is big enough, the how becomes clear and easy. If your why is big enough, then the how becomes clear and easy. If your why is for your kids or for your spouse or to help other people or because God told you to do it and you feel it on your heart, then guess what? You can do it. You have to tuck that in. Maybe write it on a piece of paper and stick it over your door. Put it on your bathroom mirror. Why am I going to the gym? Because I've been married for 20 years and I want my wife to still find me physically attractive. She keeps herself in shape. I owe it to her. There's your why. Go to the gym. Get up early. Don't tell people you can't do it. Show them how you can. Remember that why. And sometimes the best why is other people. I had the same workout partner for 13 and a half years. The why as to why I got up at 4:30 and 5 a.m. to meet him at 5 or 5:30, 5 days out of the week or 4 days out of the week was because I didn't want to let him down. That was a huge why. And that made the how, going to bed early, having a comfortable pillow, setting 2 alarms, the how became easy because my why was important because I did not want to let him down. And because of that, I developed a foundation of discipline in the gym. Not perfect. And I missed a few workouts, and I don't know everything about working out. I'm sure I could be in a little better shape, I guess. Obviously, we all could. But I've developed that discipline and committed to him and had a wonderful relationship with a best friend because of that. So remember your why. Why did you start building the Rebel Outpost? Why are you looking for land? My why is because I see things spiraling down, and I believe one day there will only be 2 classes of people left. Slaves, slave to the system, to the matrix, to debt, to the government, and you'll make excuses for it because you have taken the easy road while times were, quote, good. If you think times are good, you're absolutely asleep. If they are good for you, when things shift and you don't have the skills or you don't have the things you need, then life might not be good. So the reason I'm here is because of things shift. So every single day, it almost feels like musical chairs, right? Remember the 2020 era? Remember when everything changed? I remember walking from my office at the time to a Starbucks drive-thru. Excuse me, I'm gonna take an energy drink sip. And we walked up, myself and a girl, we walked up to the window, and an overweight barista or teller or whoever the guy was, he said, now there's nobody there, nobody inside, the door's locked, there's nobody in line. And he says, hey, I can't serve you unless you come through in a car. People's thinking does not exist outside of the box. That's another reason I'm building the Rebel Outpost. Look where everything's going. So those are my reasons. Those are the ways that I wake up and stay motivated. Do I feel motivated every day? Absolutely not. Are there hard days? More hard days than good or easy days. But I just chalk that up to life. That's the test. Because as I told somebody recently, can you imagine one day when I have a cabin on the hill? Can you imagine one day when my bee processing building is built? Can you imagine when I expand the size of the garden? Now, you need to live in the present, but it's good to have something to look forward to. And all those things are going to happen. I've got plans right now to expand the garden for next year. I want to grow more plants, more food, self-sufficiency. That's the goal. If you haven't noticed or I haven't showed you guys, I've got an emergency water tower. I'm building a golf cart garage right now. That will be done this week. I've got a lot of plans. I've got a beautiful office, but nothing is perfect and nothing is easy, and it's not very motivating to be out here alone. So let me tell you, it's pure grit. I enjoy the positive moments. I am thankful, and you should too. So if you're laying there in the bed, or if you're sitting there and you're overweight and you just don't feel good and you're not motivated, remember, most of us are not motivated. Most of us are dedicated. Most of us are using discipline. We're using tactics and techniques that we've learned along the way. And the final thing I'm going to leave you with is start small. Start very small. If you're not walking, walk for 10 minutes. That's it. Walk for 10 minutes. If you don't have shoes to walk, order some shoes and walk for 5 minutes in them until you break them in, and then walk 10 minutes, and then walk 30 minutes, and then get an accountability partner either to remind you to walk. I would like to say I don't want you to have to do that. I want you to be dedicated enough to do it without others because they may not always be there, but get a walking partner. If you need to start a business or if you need to save more money, be committed. I am attempting to buy less stuff because I'm saving up for a cabin, to build a cabin, God willing. I have to stop buying tools and different small things along the way. I have to say, this is good enough. I'm having to be disciplined to not buy things that I want right now so I can have things that I want later. So the big takeaway from this whole chat, if you're still watching, is I'm not usually motivated. I use grit, I use sheer will, I use force, and I use gratitude to get it done. And it's not a perfect system, but actually that's how most people are doing it. Getting up, lacing up your work boots when you don't feel like it, remembering why you're doing it for your children or for your health or to lead your son by example, or hey, just because you want a better life in the future. Remember, better life, not wife. If you're out there with a wife, you don't need to be thinking about a new one. Think about just being disciplined. Use that. Hope this video helped you. I appreciate you watching. My life is not always what it seems like on camera. That's the number one thing I want you to get. It's not always fun and play. I make it fun. I make it fun when I take the dog for a walk or we play. I try to have fun with the chickens in the evenings. I use gratitude. I enjoy driving my Jeep. But as far as accomplishing things, that's part of it. It's meant to be hard to filter the ones out who don't really want it. So I hope this helps you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Have a good day.